Hello, good afternoon. My name is Laurie, and I'm from Leeward Community College, along with Jordan Luton and Amy McKee from UH Mānoa. And we want to welcome you to Transfer Tuesday, one of our UH Mānoa Transfer Workshop series. There's a chat button. You're welcome to put questions in the chat at any time. And there's also a Q&A button feature as well. Just to briefly go over today's agenda, we will be sharing about Peace Studies and Peace Corps Certificate with Jose Barzola and student Sarah Kane. And also we have special guests from the College of Social Sciences at UH Mānoa, and Dawn, Jennifer, Jarrett, Kana, and also Daniel Ferguson. So they'll be introducing themselves a little more as the session goes along.
Before we get started with the session, we just wanted to share a little bit about UH Mānoa with you folks. So the University of Hawaii at Manoa was founded in 1907 and is considered a land, sea, space, and sun grant institution. We have over 100 bachelor's for undergraduate majors for students to choose from, as well as graduate and professional degrees, including law, medicine, business, social work, engineering, and education. We are an NCAA Division I school, a Research 1 institution, and we strive towards being a Native Hawaiian place of learning. And so while you're at the community college, and before you transfer to UH Mānoa, we'd love for you to consider joining the Ka'i'i'e program. The Ka'i'i'e program is a partnership between UH Mānoa and the UH community colleges, and we provide proactive academic advising to students. We waive the application fees towards going to Manoa. You have the option to take a Manoa class while you're at the community college, and when you do transfer, you get to register early. If you are interested in joining the Ka'i'i'e program, please let me know in the chat and I'd be happy to send you more information. In order to join the program, you do need to have at least 24 transferable credits, a 2.0 GPA, and have at least one more semester remaining at the community college. So if you're thinking about transferring to Manoa for fall 2021, definitely join the Ka'i'i'e program. All right. And without further ado, we'll turn it over to our first speaker today, Jose Barzola and Sarah Kane from the Peace Studies program.
Laurie and Amy, thank you so much for having us here today. Nice to virtually meet everyone who's with us today. I will get us started with, I'm here on behalf of the Matsunaga Institute for Peace, which we're an academic unit here at the UH Mānoa, which offers courses on peace and conflict resolution. We're named after the late Senator Sparky Matsunaga, and I can get into a little history about Sparky at another time, but based on time, I want to focus on the academics today. Going to share my screen here and provide you, I think what's really best is utilizing our website and what we have already installed. And if you go to peaceinstitute.manoa.hawaii.edu, you can see our main website right there. You can follow us through social media and keep in tune with all the different outreach programs we have going on. So going to academic programs, you can learn a little bit further about we have 3 different possible programs that undergraduate students can get involved in. One is our Bachelor's in Peace and Conflict Resolution, which is through Interdisciplinary Studies. Then there is the undergrad certificate in Peace Studies, and then there is the Peace Corps Prep Certificate. So to get us started briefly, I'm going to mention IS. It is a major that's specifically through Interdisciplinary Studies. And as you go through there, you can contact Dr. Brian Hallett to get further information. IS does provide an orientation. That's really your first place to really get started, to express that you are truly interested in the program. You can see the qualifications and then the requirements for the major. It is not only possible to major in this, it is possible to double major with this. We have a couple different students who have done this in the past. I do have a pre-recording of one of our alum who can speak a little bit more about the program. So I will get to that in a minute. And let's switch on over to the shared screen so you can hear. So Joanna Marcos is actually one of our alum who graduated in fall of December 2018. She not only she was a double major in public health and then ISBA in Peace and Conflict Resolution with a focus on health disparities. She was also one of our recipients of our Peace Corps Prep certificate, and then went off to do the Peace Corps as well in Namibia. So that'll be another tidbit. But yes, I'm gonna get this started so you can hear it right from her words what the experience of the IS degree is really about.
Hey, greetings. Today I will be talking about my interdisciplinary studies experience, specifically with peace and conflict resolution. My name is Joanna Marcos Garcia, and I do want to express before I begin that all of these views are personal and they're unrelated to the university. This is just my experience and the things that I learned from the process of getting this degree. So what it is, I've taken all of these writing samples directly from the UHM website. So what they describe the Interdisciplinary Studies program as an opportunity to pursue innovative fields of study, and it's giving you a chance to draw from other academic disciplines that kind of work together to create a powerful learning experience. And for the most part, they are correct. I do agree entirely with this. So what that can look like. So specifically, if you're using me as an example, my degree is a Bachelor of Arts in Peace and Conflict Resolution, Health Disparities as a Global Conflict. So the academics that I drew from, the departments I drew from, were from the Peace and Conflict, Education, Public Health, and Microbiology. So I took courses from all three of those departments to actually create this major. And so what's very important about the Interdisciplinary Studies major is that it lets you define your educational pathway. It lets you define what classes you want to take that will support an overall career goal. So it's not just a degree, it's putting a foundation to what you want to work for in the future. It allows you to bridge the differences between separate departments to create innovative solutions for an overall problem, not just a career goal. So I know I want to do public health and work into the community of public health, but this degree allows me to further be successful, to learn more, and to have more creative problem-solving skills and more tools to actually do some positive peace change in my actual field. And I can do that by the peace and conflict education courses, microbiology courses, and public health courses that I utilized for my major. So for interdisciplinary studies majors, there are a few things to consider because this is not your traditional educational pathway. It is not your sort of traditional degree. So if you're like me and you're looking for a dual degree program, because I also have a Bachelor of Arts in Public Health, you have to think about, is this to supplement another degree, or is this expanding on knowledge that will help you later on in your life, in your career, or in your job? How can you make yourself more competitive professionally? Will this even help you holistically? What exactly is it that you want to do? And it's more thinking about you and less thinking about the exact specific job that you want. How will the Interdisciplinary Studies program help you? How can peace and conflict education help you in your private space, in your professional space, and in the decisions that you make to, like I said, actually conduct positive change? And if this is going to be a primary degree, now you should ask yourself, what exactly is the career that you want? What type of leader do you want to be? And how will combining specialties help you with your end goal interests? Because you are looking at very different departments. Like, for example, my public health and my peace and conflict education, those are very two different programs seemingly on the surface. So you have to ask yourself how combining these two departments will actually help you be a very successful leader and a very successful person. So what is it exactly that you want to do that a traditional pathway can't help you with? Because like I said, this is not a traditional pathway. You are looking at different departments and different courses and putting them together in a way that supports you and will help support others when you finally enter the professional sphere. So you have to ask yourself, how will this non-traditional educational pathway help you? And so it is a lot of thinking, a lot of asking these questions, because part of this process is justifying your reasoning and explaining it so that someone else that's not in your head can understand it. You're going to meet with an advisor, and part of your application process is actually writing down, this is what I want my degree to be, this is why, and this is how I think it will help me, help my community, and be very successful in the professional sphere. And so you're also going to have to think about the courses that you want. You're going to have to look at course catalogs and see, why would this certain microbiology course help me study health disparities? How can this particular peace and conflict education session support my career goals with this degree? And so I do want to say, even though I know that everyone says it all the time, that communication is key, because this can be a lengthy process. You have to put essentially what's in your brain on a piece of paper and make it so that other people can understand it. People that don't have the same mindset or the same thoughts as you. So there are advisors to utilize, and please do utilize them when you're doing this process, because they can help you translate something that's going on in your head into actual feasible actions. Because sometimes you might have an idea on your head that's not so feasible. My original degree wasn't health disparities as a global conflict. I don't even remember what exactly it was, but I do know that it took a few sessions with an advisor to actually talk about how we could make a concrete degree using peace and conflict education, because that is what I wanted to focus on. So you will have a lot of meetings to talk about this short little paragraph that you have to write to justify your new degree. And you use those meetings, take notes. It's very important that you do communicate and tell them what you really want. And that's what those original questions that we were looking at, like, how does this help you holistically? How does this help you professionally? That's why those are very important, because you have to sort of justify why these specific courses out of so many. So you have to know how they'll help you. And so my personal experience with peace and conflict resolution, because this is kind of what we're focusing on with this session, is peace and conflict resolution is a way to integrate conflict resolution into my professional aspirations. So a traditional degree, for me, in my experience, it's very nice, but it doesn't exactly lean into talking about how to conduct positive change. And so the peace and conflict resolution interdisciplinary studies degree was very important for me because of that, because I could integrate conflict resolution tools into my everyday life with this degree. And this degree supplies those tools, as I said. And conflict resolution is applicable to all fields and is important to all fields. It's just as important to someone in public health who works in communities as someone who's maybe just an accountant or someone going into marketing. It is equally important, and it makes sense in both fields. So an IS in public conflict resolution, or in peace and conflict resolution, prepares you to look critically at every aspect of your field in order to fix systemic issues. So if you want to do your job, do it well, and be a leader in that field, you have to have the tools to be able to do that. And that's what the peace and conflict resolution IS degree does, is it supplies you with the ability to fix issues as they come up, to fix conflicts as they come up, but also to look critically at the environment around you to see how you best fit and how you can best conduct change. And so that is my personal experience with the IS Peace and Conflict degree. I have used it every single day of my life. It has been a sort of holistic growth and assistance in that way. So it can be a lot of work to get this specific degree in terms of meeting with advisors and making time out of your day to go to these departments, but I do recommend them because of the tools that you are supplied with in the long term.
Okay, well, thank you. Let me see, how do I stop the shared screen? Here we go. All right, so I did want to share with everybody, I kind of like to start it out with that because I think it's really best if we learn about our program from our own students and from our alumni. Actually, Sarah Kane is joining us today as well. She's one of our current students. I'm gonna go briefly into our undergrad certificate and our Peace Corps prep certificate, specifically because Sarah is currently pursuing both of those. And so I wanna talk about just the logistical stuff a little bit about that. And then you'll hear from herself how the process has been. So speaking about the undergrad certificate in peace studies, it's equivalent to a minor, 5 courses as it states right there. There's the required courses are PACHE 310, which is a survey of peace and conflict studies. You need to do a practicum or an internship, the PACHE 495 course. You work with our instructors and we really kind of help you get set up on different practicum sites. always important. Normally students will do their practicum close to second to last or last semester that they're here, or they're just about finishing the certificate. It's always great to let us know at least a semester in advance that you're planning to do the practicum, just so that we can start having dialogues as to like, what would you like to get involved in? Internship site, it's not just the volunteer experience, it is more of collaborating with an organization, a state agency, and really trying to have a culminating project, something where after you've left, you can not only have, wow, that was really great, I helped develop that, or I helped run that, and something else that you can really just add on to your resume, which would hopefully help you as you move along your professional career in the peace and conflict resolution field. Additionally, another one of the required courses is a skills course. Right here, it just mentioned mediation and negotiation. Actually, facilitation also counts into that area. And then there's elective courses. You pick 2 courses from a plethora of various electives, everything from Gandhi King and Nonviolence to terrorism to we have a Hiroshima program during the summers for 2 weeks. Our students go to Hiroshima, partake in through a Hiroshima Peace program through Hiroshima City University in Japan. So yeah, so the options are plentiful. Now, moving on to the grad certificate, the Peace Corps Prep Certificate. These are not in order here. This is a program that we got off the ground in January of 2018 and have had great success. I have to let everybody know, just by doing the certificate does not necessarily mean that, yes, you're gonna get into the Peace Corps, but I also need to let you know that I think it does help you get your foot into the door if you're truly interested in going to the Peace Corps, partially because part of the Peace Corps application asks, have you done the Peace Corps Prep Certificate? And if you have, it'll ask you to upload a PDF version of the exit checklist, which is something I will work with you on during your very last semester, which kind of is a culmination of all the classes and everything that you've done that, you know, can go into that area. So the beauty of the Peace Corps Prep Certificate is you're already preparing with the mindset of going into the Peace Corps. So first off, it'll ask you, like, which sector do you want to go into? Is it education, health, environment, agriculture, youth and development, community economic development? Normally, just by my first meeting with you, you let me know what your major is or you're interested in going into. I can probably guide you along into which sector would probably fit best. I would say the earlier you know that you're interested in Peace Corps, please reach out to me so we can kind of get you started. I do want to emphasize how it is possible to do both the Peace Study Certificate and the Peace Corps Prep Certificate simultaneously and get both certificates. This is one of the few times you can double count courses here at the university, partially because a little loophole of the undergrad certificate in peace studies comes out of UH Mānoa, but the Peace Corps Prep Certificate actually comes out of the Peace Corps University programs, which is over in Washington, D.C. I happen to be the liaison as the Peace Corps Prep Coordinator, and so for those purposes, you would speak to me for the Peace Corps Prep program, you speak to Dr. Brian Hallett, or you can speak to me initially for the undergrad certificate in peace studies, and we'll connect Dr. Hallett as well. But you can kind of see some of the similarities right here that's outlined, some of the classes that are outlined. So initially it'll ask for 9 credits in your sector. So if you're already, you know, you want to go into the health sector and you're a bio major, well, you're probably going to be taking lots of 300, 400 level courses related to biology and organic chemistry, and the list goes on. And so it'll be great to just have some of those classes go into that sector. You're required to do 50 hours of volunteer experience. As you recall, I may have mentioned the practicum or internship through the undergrad certificate in peace studies. That requires 100 hours. So as long as we make sure that 50 of those 100 hours are related to your sector, we're good to go there. There is a foreign language requirement. For the most part, you're probably going to have to take a foreign language as part of your degree here anyways. If not, if you already speak another language, we can definitely waive the foreign language skills as well. So the other portion, intercultural competence courses that they're looking for, this is where the peace and conflict education courses really fall really nicely into those. And if you happen to be taking those for the certificate, then there you go. They fulfill some of the Peace Corps Prep Certificate intercultural competence as well. And then the last portion of the prep program is the professional leadership and development. I want to make sure you get that resume reviewed. If Mānoa Career Center, you know, they're really busy, I'm always happy to help you out as well with to review your resume. We can do interview skills through Mānoa Career Center, and then looking for really a leadership experience related to something in that sector. It does not necessarily mean you need to go out there and run for, you know, student senate or president. It's just something that you have led. And it's very possible that if you have done this practicum that I mentioned earlier, you probably have had a couple leadership opportunities through that as well. So that's kind of like how they work very closely together. I'll leave it up to you if you want to watch this video later. You can also see the prep student guide that really breaks down as far as like what are the nitty-gritty courses that fall into those areas. So, but without further ado, I do want to make some time for our Sarah, who's joining us today, and I'm going to share my screen or share the PowerPoint for her while she goes and takes it away.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for having me. My name is Sarah, and I'm here today to really speak towards the student perspective of pursuing the undergraduate certificate in both the Peace Studies and the Peace Corps prep program. As Jose was showing on the website, it is possible to do both at once, and it's pretty crazy because I came to UH Mānoa initially to pursue a degree in a bachelor's in nursing, and I never thought that I would be able to deviate from that course because it's such a heavy course load. But I've been working with Jose for the past couple years, and my Peace Studies experience has been entirely flexible. And I'll talk a little bit more about how my nursing classes and both my Peace Studies classes kind of integrated and double dipped and allowed me to graduate on time. But overall, an education piece has really given me the opportunity to learn more about people across all walks of life, help shape my worldview, and has really provided the foundation necessary to navigate conflict and cultivate relationships in my everyday life. So if you go to the next slide for me, please, Jose. Thank you. So how I became interested in peace. Like I mentioned, I did not consider Peace Studies coming into UH Mānoa. It wasn't until my freshman year at a career fair that I came across a Peace Corps booth. And I'm the Peace Corps recruiter. I was absolutely drawn to the Peace Corps initially because the values of service and community, and of course traveling I thought was really great. And Jose mentioned that you can specialize in a certain sector, and I thought the health sector completely aligned with my interests as a nursing student. So I really wanted to get more involved. The following year, I interned as a Peace Corps campus ambassador, working alongside the Peace Corps recruiter, and I got to meet so many of the returned Peace Corps volunteers and hear their stories. I really recommend the experience because Peace Corps is quite a commitment. For those of you that don't know, it's 2 years long, living in a completely different community, and it takes a lot of thought. So interacting with these returned volunteers really solidified my interest in the Peace Corps. And from there, working as a Peace Corps ambassador really segued into my interest in peace studies. And I started by meeting Jose the next semester and talking about the Peace Corps prep certificate and the Peace Studies undergraduate certificate. All right, you can go to the next slide, Jose. All right, so my Peace Studies classes. So as I mentioned, double dipping. I thought it was incredible that both these undergraduate certificates were able to fit in with my busy schedule. And more on that, in the Peace Corps, you can pick certain sectors. So there was the health sector. My nursing classes fulfilled a lot of those requirements. So able to do those undergraduate certificates and take my major was fairly easy, very flexible. And I was so excited to be able to do something that deviated from science. My left brain was really starting to hurt. They were so different from the science classes that I was taking. They're all really fun, really great courses, everything from languages to human rights, conflict studies. I took Gandhi, King, and Nonviolence, and that was one of my favorite classes. And it quickly became exposed to a plethora of different cultures, ways of life and perspectives that completely shifted my worldview, which speaks to the intercultural competence education that Jose was talking a little bit about. So I learned peace studies. I was really able to transition from kind of the egocentrism of my teenage years and learn a little bit more about the world around me. And it's, even though peace studies kind of really seemed to deviate from my nursing education, it became the catalyst to learning how I interacted with the world. So yeah, I love classes. And you can go on to the next slide, Jose. I wanted to speak a little bit more about my practicum. Just a forewarning, everyone's practicum experience is completely different. We all have different mentors, different interests, different locations that we work at. For example, I'm currently working as an intern at the Matsunaga Institute for Peace with Jose. See a lot of them. And really that opportunity came up because Jose called me right before before the semester started. He's like, Sarah, I have this opportunity for conflict in healthcare. And he really was able to integrate my interest as a nursing major and my requirements as a peace studies student. So yeah, that kind of worked out perfectly. So far, I've had the opportunity to interact with people from all across different backgrounds, coming together to pursue mutual interests of respect, understanding, connection. I think, for example, in an event, I got to witness a webinar, a Zoom meeting from women across a multitude of professional backgrounds coming together to discuss their roles at the local level to combat climate change. And I've just got to meet so many incredible people within the field of peace studies within my community, and I've had the opportunity to network and coordinate events alongside other peace builders within my community. All right, you can go to the next slide, Jose. And how peace studies fits into my life. As I mentioned, I initially thought that nursing completely deviated from my peace studies education, as both a nursing major and also a resident assistant at the UH dorms here in student housing. And studying peace has not only supplemented my nursing skills, just with the cultural competence and the, my heightened sense of empathy and understanding. Also as an RA, I've been able to use those skills I learned as a mediator in my community and address and use those conflict resolution tools within my everyday life, within my work. Yeah, I absolutely use that every day, believe it or not. There's a lot of freshmen who don't like to wear masks nowadays. So definitely comes into handy. And really the undergraduate peace studies certificate and the Peace Corps prep program has become the foundation of how I interact with others. All right, and last slide for me, please. All right, so hopefully throughout this presentation, I've given you all some insight into the ways that peace studies education has become an integral part of my UH Mānoa experience. If you're interested in conflict resolution or the Peace Corps prep program at all, learning more about the world and as well as in all its diversity and creating strong relationships, I really encourage you to either speak with Jose or Brian Hallett and pursue these undergraduate degrees. All right, thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for that. And I think that brings us to time. So I just want to be conscientious. But yeah, if you want to contact us, you can email me at uhip@hawaii.edu, and happy to set up a phone, Zoom meeting, whatever you like, and then we can catch up and help you out.
Thank you, Sarah and Jose. What a hidden gem at UH Mānoa. Not many people know about your peace studies and peace and conflict resolution degrees. So thank you so much for sharing that. I really like how Joanna and Sarah both attest to this is becoming a catalyst for who they're becoming, and that just speaks volumes about the power of the program. So I think that's great. I did have one question, Jose. This is from a student from yesterday who was asking me, the courses for the interdisciplinary bachelor's degree, it's listed on your website that they can choose from. But Joanna was talking about the process. Was that long process she was talking about because she chose health disparity as a global conflict, or you still have to do that whole process regardless of your specific area? I wasn't too clear on that.
So although there are lots of classes that are listed there that can go toward different degrees, it is not the all and be all of courses out there. And it is important to make sure that you have met with your advisor, have your degree declared, and have a confirmation from your advisor that, yes, these courses that I'm planning to take are the ones going toward my major, as opposed to, I have taken all these classes and I'm approaching you right now in my last semester and I want to get this degree, which is not the way to go about with the degree. So it is very flexible, which is wonderful. Like Joanne was able to focus on health disparities. We've had other students focus on international relations, international peace building, climate change. And so that's part of the beauty of it being in interdisciplinary studies, that students can kind of tailor it to what they want. So yeah, so that's.
All students will have to go through that process.
Yes.
Okay.
That meeting with them. It really all starts with an orientation. That's, I would say, send me an email. I will connect them to all the right people so they can get set up with an orientation. And then after they do the orientation, they connect with Dr. Hallett, who helps them really kind of brainstorm. They want to take this. And I gotta say, it's truly been a great experience for students, especially if you're looking, or if you haven't even considered like future like graduate work. Like when you apply to, let's say, a PhD program, you're going to apply with like your letter of intent is going to be what I want to do with this PhD. And so it's that same mindset of like, this is what I want to do with this peace studies degree. I've signed up for this degree and I don't really know what I'm going to do with it. So there's a little more intent going into it.
Thank you. Is there anything else, Sarah, Jose, you want to add before we transition?
Yeah, sure. I think Amy asked a question in the chat regarding time management. I think it's such a great question. Thank you for that. Don't get me wrong, it is very busy having these certificates, but the great thing about peace studies is that, let's say, for example, I've had a very heavy nursing schedule. I'm able to kind of switch around my peace studies courses and kind of accommodate for my very like science heavy semester classes, and vice versa. So I've kind of learned like I can't take very high level science classes and a language because my brain can't handle all of that. But I have been able to kind of rearrange my schedule that way, and like I said, it is very flexible within that. So
only thing I would add is the courses are really, once you take them, you'll start realizing you're like, oh, like I've either have been doing this type of work, I just haven't had the right terminology. So I got to say, everyone out there, for most likely one way or the other, has had to deal with conflict and manage it in some way, whether it's been effectively or not. You have a system, whether it's like you're like, I'm going to avoid this and walk away, or you're like, okay, let's talk it out. This is the type of material dialogues that you'll be having in these classes. So I'm actually an alum of the grad certificate in conflict resolution, which was also listed on that website. And I also happen to be one of the affiliate faculty or the lecturers in the program. So these are the classes you'll talk about the differences between what is the difference between like peace building, peacekeeping, peacemaking, you know, which some people may not even think about. So yeah, it's everything from how is mediation different than negotiation, facilitation, or organizational change? You know, how do you create that? What's an effective meeting to have? What should it entail? You know, just because people tell you like, all right, this is the agenda for today, go out and do it, doesn't necessarily mean that's an effective meeting. So how do you nurture that within your organization or within the people that, you know, you surround yourself on a daily basis with, to have effective meetings, to have a productive and healthy relationship in organization moving forward. So that's really kind of like a good way to kind of summarize what we do. But thank you for having us today, and we'll be here if you need anything else.
Thank you.
I have one more question. Sorry. Jose, could you talk a little bit about the online options with the Peace Studies program?
Yes. So we've been very fortunate that actually our undergrad certificate in peace studies, actually all of them are online now, but specifically our undergrad certificate in peace studies, I got to say for at least 10 years now, we've had a great collaborative with Maui College where our students have been getting, I work closely with the representatives over there, the advisors, and students get the undergrad certificate in peace studies. I teach online, so some of those students end up in my classes, which are wonderful, and they're still able to do a practicum or an internship on a remote basis because one example is we had a student in Maui who was like, I'm really interested in mediation. So she interned at Maui Mediation Services, which is the main mediation center over in Maui. And lo and behold, now she actually has a full-time job there. So it's always great when I call over there. I'm like, hey, how's it going? And so there are actually mediation centers on every island. There's 2 on Hawaii Island, 1 in Kauai, and 1 here in Oahu. And so, but if not the mediation centers, there's other organizations to get involved in. Some of the other places students have done, everywhere from the Lieutenant Governor Josh Green's office to various senators, the Hawaii State Judiciary, the Central Alternate Dispute Resolution. But it is possible to do the program online, especially moving forward with all the different changes we have. We're actually planning to have at least about 42 seats through extension for the spring semester, which are going to be specifically seats for students who are not in Manoa, who are part of the rest of the UH system or just in the community who want to take some of our undergraduate courses. We have graduate courses as well that will be offered through extension. So they're definitely it's a mix of asynchronous and synchronous. I will say the majority of it is asynchronous. And although what you may have heard out in the world with the transitions during the pandemic, I have to speak on behalf of the department and say we do normally we do, I would say 98% a really good job of asynchronous, and still with the power of peace and conflict studies, and it kind of lends to having those open-ended questions, building relationships and nurturing an environment where you can still feel like you're connecting with your classmates, although you're not physically online at the same time as they are. So I do have to just do a shout out for that, because I know with lots of online classes right now, everyone is either one way or the other, and at the end of the day, everyone wants in person, and that's unfortunately what we can't do at the moment. So it is a good middle ground, I would say. And I think Amy can probably speak to that herself as one of my past students being part of the program and an alum of the program. So please reach out. Happy to meet people in the community all the time and talk about further.
Thank you.
All right. So thank you so much for being here and joining us for the presentation of the Peace Studies program and with the College of Social Sciences. Our next Transfer Tuesday offering is going to be next week, Tuesday, November 17th, with the Hawaii Nui Akea School of Hawaiian Knowledge, as well as the Ethnic Studies program. Okay, hope you check it out.